Get more ass than a toilet seat. Cops let me sing in the fucking street.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about It's a Wonderful Knife. After saving her town from a psychotic killer, Winnie Carruthers' life is less than wonderful. When she'd wished she had never been born, she finds herself in a nightmare parallel universe where, without her, things could be much, much worse. Now, the first clues that dropped about the Monday mystery movie at Regal, I instantly knew that we were going to get this movie. Aaron Medeiros, my best friend and fellow critic, thought we were going to get Thanksgiving. Now, although that would have been awesome, we are not necessarily lucky when it comes to gambling on the big budget titles when this kind of event really charges $5 a ticket. Nonetheless, I was even more happy that we were going to get a holiday horror movie at all because unless it's going to be on streaming, they don't really come by into cinemas nowadays. Director Tyler McIntyre, who co-wrote Five Nights at Freddy's, and Michael Kennedy, the co-writer of Freaky, has decided to follow into Blumhouse's footsteps and put a slasher spin on the quirky classic, and in this case, It's a Wonderful Life. Now, I understand that the Frank Capra film is a must-see during the Christmas holiday, but if I'm going to be honest, I saw it once, and I think it's overrated. Now, hear me out. Had I grown up seeing this film, I think I would have felt much more different about it. But in this case, you just would not find this in my rotation to watch during the holiday season. I'm so sorry. Starting off with the story, I thought it was a pretty neat concept, seeing what life would have been like had our protagonist not been born or alive to stop the town killer on his rampage. Although they had some refreshing ideas and pretty brand new angles, I think that they could have explored something a little bit more further, especially in the fact that they could have gone in a much different horror route. They could have done something psychological instead of just another guy in an elaborate costume and mask, and I think it would have been kind of ballsy but experimental instead of just kind of running the same mill that Blumhouse has already done. We are following a familiar template with It's a Wonderful Life as the center theme, and if I'm going to be honest, it has a lot of plot holes because a lot of the obstacles and a lot of the nuances just feel very rushed and predictable, and that's because that the pacing moves like lightning and doesn't give a lot of the contrivances to breathe. Like, we already know who Winnie confides into when a lot of her closest friends and family members don't believe in her. We all know that the first challenge that she's faced with is not going to work when she achieves it because it's just too early into the movie. Getting into some of the talent here, let's start off with our lead, Winnie, played by Jane Widdop. She's very well known for her Showtime TV series called Yellow Jackets, which I have yet to see, but she does pretty good with a lot of her dramatic chops. A lot of her wit and melancholy humor really got a few good chuckles out of me. It's charming, yet subtle. One of my favorable traits that they've given her through the script was how much she is able to go toe to toe with Ghostface. Like, she fights like a goddamn rock star, and I love that about her. My gripe about her particular arc, and this really adds on to some of the plot holes that I've mentioned before, was that they really failed to bring the mourning of her best friend Kara to full circle because she is so devastated that her best friend is pretty much like the catalyst, the emotional catalyst that, causes things to go haywire. And then in the end, where they're wrapping things up with a lot of the side and supporting characters, like, the best friend is never really mentioned again. I'm like, I understand you're happy now, but did you forget why you got here? Jess McLeod plays Bernie. She's the Clarence to Winnie's George Bailey. I hope I got that reference right. But she makes a quirky dynamic between our lead and a solid team up when it comes to taking down the killer. I wish we had some more character development, especially before she jumps into the alternative universe, because when they zero in on the chemistry between the main character and Bernie, I just feel like there was just a lot more they needed to unpack to make it a little more effective. Nonetheless, I mean, other than her being a great plot device, I really like those two working together. Getting into some of the familiar faces that I did not expect to see in this movie, Joel McHale And every single time that I see him in a new project, I get so frustrated because I'm just wondering how much longer are they going to delay the Community movie. I mean, us fans want that. But nonetheless, he plays two wonderfully different versions of a father you can ask for: sympathetic and insufferable. We got Catherine Isabel, who's no stranger to the horror genre. There's Ginger Snaps, there's Freddy vs. Jason, there's See No Evil 2, but she plays Winnie's blunt lesbian aunt, and she has a lot of great one-liners that really earn some laughs. And I really wish we got more of her, because there's a point where she actually joins the little team up against the killer, and let's just say that she really adds a lot of levity to that dynamic. And we also got Justin Long, who is also not a stranger to the horror genre, but instead of him tackling the usual role of a comic relief, he is the egotistical, silver spoon, creepy mayor of Angel Falls, presenting himself with the blue eyes and pearly white veneers, and that voice he does was just so unrecognizable. And just like Vince Vaughn in Freaky, I definitely have to give him props for swinging at the fences with such a subversive role. Last but not least, the Angel Killer. I love the costume design that they cooked up for this holiday slasher. It's a breath of fresh air, considering that, the usual default would be probably like a snowman or a Santa Claus. They got the white hooded robe with the white faceless mask and a dagger that almost seems as similar as something I saw from Malignant. And I gotta say, this killer moves as fast as Ghostface, to where even the true identity of the killer does not match the assailant's agility. And my only gripe about the killer was just how often that they utilized him, because there is just a chunk of this movie where he's just missing in action, and the pacing really shows. Overall, I have to give credit where credit is due, where Shudder and RLJE definitely showed some balls into making a movie as similar to what Blumhouse has been trying to do, and with those similar movies in comparison of Happy Death Day and Freaky, on the list, I'd probably rank this one a third. I mean, again, it's still enjoyable to watch. I know I still have to check out Amazon's Totally Killer, because that one is being described as Back to the Future meets Scream. It's not the greatest, but I definitely add it into the Christmas horror rotation, especially for the holidays. I'm Jaren Banawag. Thank you guys again so much for watching. That's all I got to share about that movie. Go ahead and check it out if you want. When it comes out, I think, November 10th in theaters, or it's probably going to be streaming on Shudder. In the meantime, look forward to more reviews, and I will see you guys at the movies. Take care.
Did I mention that it's Christmas? I can't decide which girl I like best. Maybe I should have you fight to the death. I know I don't treat you like I should.